Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome back to Fueling Your Legacy, and today we're going to be talking about something that's really important when it comes to vision and dreams and legacies, and that is that we don't put off actually planning for our legacy. It is common to, and this happens in all areas of our life, the saying is hindsight is 20/20, or we're able to know what we should have done because now we know what happened, we know what the results were. And to a certain extent, that's true, but we don't want to get to the end of our life and just be surprised about what legacy we left. We want to make sure that we know what legacy we're inviting people to be a part of and where we're actually going with this. And so that's something that we want to focus on today is how do we intentionally plan for our legacy now, and how do we create that in our lives moving forward? Now, we've talked about different ways to set goals, and although goals are important, that's only one aspect of it. There's a whole nother aspect of setting up your expectation and creating your legacy, and that is you have to be able to sell it to the people around you. You have to be able to let them know what that is, and that a lot of it starts with the visualization and learning to experience what you want your legacy to be before you actually get there. So we have to get into ourselves and get into a position where we're actually experiencing that. A great resource for people to understand kind of what I'm talking about as far as the experiencing of these things, there's two. There's The Power of Subconscious Mind, and by, I believe it's Joseph Murphy, and then there's also Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. These are like two of the classics as far as experiencing, visualizing, getting into the emotional state of having already accomplished your goals. That way, as you are going out and sharing this with other people, you're inviting people in to really experience your dreams, your goals, what you're trying to accomplish. That's going to be the same thing whether it's in your family life, your business life, your religious life. It doesn't matter where it is. We want to invite people into our dream and our vision, and also to create a legacy. We want to make sure that's clear and that we're planning for that every day, not just something that we wake up and think, oh, maybe we should do this today, but how are we planning for our legacy every day and making sure that's bringing it to pass every day. Now, a great technique, as I mentioned, is visualization. So what does that visualization look like? There's another book or / movie called The Secret. Now, I want to share a personal experience of how I use this in my life, although not all of the things in The Secret are what I would say I think that movie got a lot of slander, actually. It was actually a really good film, really good at conveying a concept. Now, is everything factually accurate? Who knows and who cares, really? The purpose is the concept applicable in your life? And what I got out of that movie when I started watching it was if you really focus on something, if you decide and are definite in purpose that you want it, then you're going to get it. Now, how does that happen? Since I watched that movie, I learned that really it shifts your mindset. You become hyper aware of those things. Just like if you bought a new car, you start seeing that car everywhere. Where if you start focusing on your goals and your dreams, you're going to start seeing ways to bring those dreams to pass. And that's really what is helping you accomplish your dreams. It's not that just by merely sitting there with your fingers crossed or whatever, you're going to attract this stuff into your life. What happens is your brain actually starts restructuring itself. On top of the energetic wavelengths that are going to be attracting things, your brain actually is attracting you to ways that can accomplish that. Your subconscious is being activated to help you see all the potential activities and how you can accomplish your goal and your dream. And so we have to get into that state of what do we want, how do we want to feel, and where are we going with it. So for me, I had two things that after I watched this movie, there were two things that I visualized daily that I wanted. One, I was 12 years old when I first saw this. So, and 12 years old for me, that was like 15, 20 years ago. Not every 12-year-old had a cell phone. But I wanted a cell phone. My parents had cell phones. They just got like the brick Nokia cell phones, the old ones. But I wanted a cell phone. And so I started visualizing every day what it would feel like in my hands. I started researching what type of cell phone I want. I stuck pictures up on my vision board about what I wanted out of this cell phone, what the camera I wanted, what functionalities I wanted to have. Did I want access to the internet or not want access to the internet? I was very clear about what I wanted. And then every night before bed, I would imagine and I would experience myself calling my friends, texting my friends. What would it feel like to have that vibrating in my pocket? I started getting ghost vibrations. Even though I'd never really experienced it, I kind of had this idea of what it would feel like. We've all experienced a ghost vibration where our phone's actually somewhere else, but we feel like our legs vibrating. I had that experience before I ever had a cell phone, because that's what I wanted. That's what I was projecting out into the world, that's what I wanted. And then through a series of events, it became necessary for me to get one, because I had moved out of my house when I was 14. And for my mom and dad and me to be able to stay in contact with people, then I needed a cell phone at this point. So it brought up a circumstance. I was willing to say yes to these circumstances, and eventually I did get my cell phone. That was one experience that I used this visualization to what I wanted. Another situation was I wanted, same time period, I wanted a little Vimto scooter, and it's like a moped thing, but I wanted one. I didn't know how I was going to get one. I was, again, 12 or 13, so I couldn't legally even drive it, but I knew that I wanted this. And as I started visualizing, I got pictures, put them up again, red. I wanted this red scooter. I wanted it to be able to go 30, 45 miles an hour. I was going to go off on all these jumps with it, driving on the road, get around, because I was too young to drive. I wanted a way to get around my small little town in Parma, Idaho. Well, unbeknownst to anybody else, I mean, nobody else knows about my goals. They're just in my bedroom. They're in my mind. I'm experienced driving, having the wind go through my hair, revving the engine, getting all excited, peeling out in that gravel driveway. Well, as I'm experiencing all these things and visualizing myself on this scooter moped thing, a few months later, a lady in our religious congregation actually said, "Hey, look, my son has too many of these. How about we give one to you?" And so my mom's like, "Sure, I guess you can give one to my sons." And we got gifted this scooter, and that scooter lasted, I don't even know, it probably lasted 3 years, 2 or 3 years, and we were rough on that thing. But the point is, we attracted that into our lives. We created our life in a way that we were doing things to attract that. We were putting ourselves in a state to receive these blessings. Well, we need to do that same thing when we're thinking about our legacy. How do we want to show up as a father, husband, mother, daughter, son? Doesn't matter what it is, but how do you want to show up in that relationship? Are you constantly visualizing what that's going to be like for those other people, how they're going to react to you? How are you going to experience them? How are you going to spend quality time with your children or with your spouse? And as you visualize this, your mind is going to start thinking of activities or times when you can actually do those. You're going to start seeing opportunities to really exemplify what you've been visualizing and creating your legacy. How about financially? People think, oh, well, you can't just like think yourself into $1 million. Maybe that's true. Maybe not anybody's just going to give you $1 million. But if you start thinking about how you're worthy to receive $1 million and how with this $1 million, you're going to be able to go out and bless so many people's lives, and you're going to be able to give back to charity, and you go through the experience of giving back, and you go through the experience of gratitude and what that would feel like having that money in your life, then you're going to start seeing opportunities for you to actually collect on that. You're going to start seeing opportunities for you to add enough value to somebody else's life that they're willing to give back to your life. And that's really what it is. It's about, are you able to see the opportunities for you to reach your goals? Are you so focused on your goals that everything you see is a stepping stone to get there? I was listening to a podcast earlier this morning, and they were talking about how every setback is actually a setup to move forward. And you have to think about that. All the setbacks, all the things that you think they're not working out, they're not going as planned, those are really opportunities for you to move forward if you're taking those opportunities. If you're not, you're going to miss out on some serious, great things. And so that's something to be aware of. Every setback is actually a setup for moving forward. But so that's in finance. How about in business? If you've got in your mind a certain way you want your business to run, people are going to come into your life to make that happen. For me, here's a long-term goal that I'm focused on, and I do everything in my power to get, and that is to speak in front of thousands and thousands of people, 100,000 people plus in the Georgia Dome. That's one of my goals. It's one of my dreams, and I'm going to get there. And I didn't know how I was going to get there. When I was young, this is when this vision of me being a public speaker first entered my mind, and when I decided I wanted it. And I've been chasing different things that have set me up and gotten me closer to that. The first thing that I did was I went into being a manager in different things. So I started leading people, and then I got directed into summer sales. And you may think, well, that's not really the same thing. Well, summer sales enabled me to learn to connect with multiple different people and able to communicate with a large amount of people. It also gave me leadership skills over my team, so I was able to lead the other salespeople. So I was learning these skills at how to speak and how to influence, and that was one step. Then through my schooling, I found that I needed to learn more about finance. I wanted to be able to help people overcome some depression, anxiety, fear, scarcity mindsets, and step into a love and abundance. Well, I didn't know where to do that, but then I found the financial firm that I'm with right now. And when I saw the whole firm and how they work, I'm like, man, this gives me the opportunity. If I get to the top of this company, right, which I think is absolutely possible, then I'll be able to speak in front of 50, 60,000 people, right, at some of these national conventions, which is decent and huge. It's not quite my goal. It's about halfway to my goal, but it's a stepping stone. And since then, I've taken public speaking classes in college. That was the largest crowd I spoke in front of was about 300 people in college. And then as I progressed in this company, the largest crowd I've spoken in front of now is closer to 500 or 600 people. But it's growing, right? And I'm getting the influence. And then I was actually hooked up on Instagram with my coach, who is now Travis Brady, and he's a speaker. And so he's allowed me to speak at some of his events, and it's getting me exposure to other speakers, other people who are more able and apt to be able to help me reach my goal. And so that's the thing. My whole life is set up of steps moving towards my goal so that I can actually accomplish what I was sent here to accomplish, what I believe I was sent here to accomplish. And so the question is, are you visualizing right now what you want your legacy to be? Are you planning what you want your legacy to be? And if you are, fantastic. If you're not, sit down maybe on a Sunday or today or right now, wherever you are, and think, what do I want people to be saying about me? When I think of my great-great-great-great-grandchildren, what do I want them to be telling their friends about me? Do I want them to be talking about me, or do I want them to think, you know what? It was fun. I don't actually know who my great-great-grandfather is, but I hope he's a cool guy. You know, no, I want something that I want values, things that are going to be passed down. I want people to remember how I treated my wife, how religious I was, and who was important to me, what I put first in my life, and how I was able to serve and become a philanthropist and actually give back to those around me. And so that's my legacy that I want, but what do you want for your legacy, and how are you going about getting that? And are you aware of all the opportunities you have to get closer to that, or are you just sitting back waiting for somebody else to just give you your legacy? So that is what we're going to talk about today. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing a book review on The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. He is a fantastic author. His story is absolutely just incredible on every level. I know right now he's still going through some health challenges, but what's important is the power of the mind and what it can help you accomplish in your life if we're willing to sit down and do it. And then on Friday, we're going to have an awesome guest, a good friend of mine, Carolyn Blossel, who her family is just incredible. And she and her husband they kind of figured it out about halfway through their family that they needed to start intentionally planning legacy rather than just letting legacy fall where it falls. And I understand that it's hard in a family of a lot of children. I'm the 7th of 11, and I plan on having a few more children. I've got 2 right now. And she had, I think, 6 or 7 children as well. So I get it. If you're right in the thick of it with the young kids and you're trying to plan a legacy, you might just way not on your radar. But I promise you, if you plan on it and you make it on your radar, then even that time with your young children can be more important, more valuable, and more intentional, which will also lead to a greater life and happiness as they get older, and later on as they move out and they start to create their own families. You'll be able to already see that legacy in place rather than having to wait generations. You'll be able to already see it in place. So thank you very much. If you could go to my Facebook, Samuel Knickerbocker. You can go to my Instagram, Sam Knickerbocker or Samuel Knickerbocker, and like and follow me there. And then also My website, samknickerbocker.com, is going to be up, where you'll be able to have access to my free ebook, The 9 Pillars of Building a Meaningful Legacy, of how you can do that and why it's important to build that legacy. So go check that book out as well. Again, click subscribe to this podcast and leave a review. That way we can get higher in the rankings there, and more people will be able to hear this valuable information. So have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.